Hi guys, as you can tell, I'm still doing the interviews today. I'm having an absolute fun time, and we're talking with Michael. We're hopping across the pond now because we're talking about Already Dead, and this film is hilarious. Michael, tell me about Already Dead. What is this all about?
So, Already Dead is a mockumentary about a group of zombies in 2016.
Okay, but let's go a little bit more in depth. What is the case of the zombies here? One of the things that you hit on is this thing called Zomba Zine. What does
Yeah.
Zomba Zine do to change up these zombies so we're not hearing a typical zombie tale?
So it takes away the want and the need to eat brains, which is probably one of the worst things a zombie can do for us. And it essentially makes them look, sound, and in every way like a normal zombie, but they can continue to live in our society. So they can work ordinary jobs, they can live in ordinary houses, and they can just live alongside humans.
One of the things you point out is that zombazine, although it's a medication to help stabilize that health threat of eating other people's brains, the National Health Service decides not to include it in its coverage when everything else seems to be covered except for zombazine. Why did you choose to go that route?
I mean, a lot of it came from. In fact, I spoke to a gentleman when I went to New York once in America, and the difference in the two sort of health services, and how for you guys it's not as simple as how we in England just call up and get whatever we need. So in England, there comes a point where if you're asked to pay for something, it almost feels out of the ordinary. You
Right.
feel entitled that you should have it. So I wanted to sort of get a touch on that in Already Dead.
Well, one of the things you pointed out really well here in the U.S., we have to pay for everything. If we need to go into the doctor's office and we have the sniffles, they're going to still charge us about $5,000 just to come and talk to us. But over there
Yeah.
in the UK, just to understand this correctly, just for those who don't understand, if I went over and I had a broken arm and I went to where are you based out of it over there anyway?
So I'm in London. So
Okay, so if I come over to London, I have a broken arm. How much would I be paying to get that reset? Because it would usually cost about 6 to 7 grand here in the U.S.
I mean, if you were from the UK, it would just be done for you. You wouldn't have to pay for.
So if I was a citizen of the UK, I wouldn't have to pay. But being an American, I would still have to pay 7 grand.
I'm sure it would probably be a lot cheaper because you'd probably have to get certain insurance anyway to come over here. So as far as I'm aware, you probably wouldn't have to pay. You definitely wouldn't have to pay that amount of money.
Oh, that's pretty freaking cool. Not gonna lie. That's kind of neat. I think I'm gonna have to travel
I'm not
more. I
saying
think.
you break your arm when you come over,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. I don't want to break a bone when I come over. That's not the goal of my vacation. But okay, but one of the other things you talk about, there's a huge amount of prejudice in the character in the humans against the zombies. Would you expand on that a little bit?
yeah. Well, I mean, as you know, there's been some horrific instances in Orlando this past week, and in the last few years, I think with things like terrorism and such like, even since especially 2001, 9/11, there's been such a sort of prejudice towards individuals that maybe look a certain way or are perceived a certain way, and they're judged before maybe they've even spoken to someone. And it's very prevalent in the UK, especially with at the moment we've got a referendum to decide whether we want to be part of the EU. And so there's a big sort of sense at the moment in the UK, as I'm sure there is across the US, that there's us and them, that kind of feeling, which I completely disagree with. I think we all live on the same earth. We just happen to be born in a different area of the globe. And I kind of wanted to touch on that in my own way. And I felt like by using zombies as that representation, I could maybe open that debate up to people who maybe didn't discuss it or didn't sort of look at it in a different way. So that was the idea behind that.
What I really appreciated about your film is that you incorporated just enough humor to kind of balance out the really heavy deep underlying human rights issue that was going on there. I mean, there's a great deal of humor. I was cracking up through this film. I thought it was hilarious. It was incredibly entertaining. At the same time, you're able to leave that social thing there, like saying, "Hey, are you discriminating against the zombies of your society?" And I think if that was the message, then it was on point.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you.
So tell me, where can people find Already Dead here at FilmQuest?
So it's going to be playing at the multiplex. What's the full name? Sorry, off the top of my head.
Jordan Commons Multiplex, yeah.
That's the one, yeah. And it's the 20th of June at 3 p.m. It's Monday. And it's playing alongside, I think, a selection of dark comedy and horror comedy. They can see it there as part of that block of films.
Excellent. Michael, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk about Already Dead. It's a really enjoyable movie, guys, and this is one that you should, well, I don't know if you should bring really young children, but you could bring older children to come see it. They do have a little bit of strong language for us here in Utah, but other than that, it's an enjoyable film, and I really strongly recommend people come and see it. Again, it's at FilmQuest. FilmQuest is starting on Friday. It's going for 9 days. If you want to get more information about that, you can find it down in the descriptions below. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll have more interviews for you guys tomorrow. Thanks you. Take care.